another bang.
Back, everybody. Question for you guys. So, what if the way you think literally shapes your reality?
And the way I understand all of this is it comes down to how we all are just energies. We are all part of an energy field. Literally every single atom in your body is composed of neurons. But I think one of the things that still uh, blows my mind is the fact that how much your beliefs shape your life. Lack mentality will never get you anything. And we can talk about
Amen.
lack mentality for ages. We can that
Exactly.
could be a completely different podcast.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I live with an abundance mentality anymore.
If you want $1 million, it's yours. You just have to change your beliefs around it. Called your reticular activating system, which is
Whoa!
the
Did you just cuss at us?
no, no, I did not. I like you guys.
You cannot keep talking about this ad nauseum over and over, and there's nothing you can do to change this. You need to find another way out. You've been talking about this for years. Your mind will manifest the things that you keep feeding it, right? So I'll tell the kids, and I'll be like, "Hey, girls, look out there for red cars. When we're driving," and
Yeah.
they'll go like, what is, and then they'll go like, "Oh my God, there's so many red cars." And I
Yeah.
said, "Okay, there was a lot of black cars. Did you notice them?" They go, "I didn't see a single one."
You can literally shift your identity into the version of you that you want to be, and literally everything around you changes. So for example, if you go into a meeting and you 5 minutes before that you tell yourself I'm the most confident person on the planet, or
Yeah.
I am going to
Let's
I'm going to
go.
nail this meeting. You say all of these things to yourself, and you will see the shift in the way you will
Man,
act.
talk to yourself. Talk to
Yeah,
yourself. Have
yeah,
conversations with
yeah,
yourself.
literally.
Because if consciousness shapes reality, then the most important work any of us can do on our minds.
Back,
That's it.
everybody. Question for you guys. So, what if the way you think literally shapes your reality? So, today on the podcast, I've got my girl Radhika. Thank you so much for joining us today, Radhika. Radhika is a data scientist who lives in both worlds. And Lusala as well, you guys know this guy. He's also getting into quantum physics quite recently. And so for me, I'm actually going to really enjoy learning about these different aspects because, we believe that, these things do actually manifest in your life with how you think, right? So I think this is not about a science class or anything like that. This is just a simple conversation. Yeah. Radhika, please bless us with a quick intro just about you, who you were, and then we can definitely go ahead and kind of kick off the podcast officially.
Yeah, happy to. Happy to be here. First of all, I'm so excited to talk about this subject because I've been interested in this for some time now. So I'm Radhika. I am professionally a data scientist, and then I do a lot of other things. I'm super into the art world, super artistic. So I am also a writer or a poet, and then I also dance. And then besides that, I think I'm super into everything related to the mind. Um, I wouldn't say it's specifically spirituality. I think it's more everything. It gets categorized in the realm of spirituality. This quantum physics, law of assumption. But frankly speaking, there is a lot of neuroscience research coming out, which kind of proves that some of these things are real. Some of the things that we experience and the way we perceive reality, the way we create reality for ourselves. And yeah, so I think it's kind of like a culmination of all of these different subjects which I am really interested in, including psychology or quantum physics or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm excited to talk about this with you
That's
guys.
fantastic. Yeah, I think you're a deep person, so I'll let you also jump right
Yeah.
in. Big meat.
Yeah. Of course. Thank you so much, Radhika. Welcome. You guys know me. My name is Lou. Welcome again. Thank you for being here with us. Mekaribisho sana. That means you're very welcome in Swahili. We always try to throw some things in there for people to learn. Um, Radhika, I think you also forgot to mention that you're apparently a superhero because that's so crazy how smart you are and artistic and you do art and dance. And that's quite the story. So please feel welcome here. And so we're gonna jump into it. So all right, fam. Today we're going somewhere different. We're talking quantum physics. Before you tap out, just hear me out, okay? Because what I've been learning about this stuff has genuinely been messing with my head in the best way. Like the science is actually proving things that most people write off as spiritual, or it's like woo woo, you know. So we decided to bring someone in here who understands this at a deeper level than we do, or is in the discovery phase, anyways. So we're gonna try to make this a conversation, but I'm gonna lead it with some like uh, just general questions, and then Radhika, you feel free to go as deep or the best way you think would be palatable to a lot of people. So um I guess before we get deep, right, just on like a very surface level, explain quantum physics like I'm smart but I've never studied it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And like I'm not a physicist, but I've definitely been a science person all my life. And the way I understand all of this is it comes down to how we all are just energies. We are all part of an energy field. Literally every single like atom in your body is composed of neurons and electrons and all of that stuff, and the way in atoms interact with each other is through energy, because like they are constantly revolving. If we've studied the structure of an atom, and do not want to go into like the physics aspect of it, but like basic takeaway over here is that everything is energy. So that's why a lot of times when you sort of like meet a new person, and you kind of you just come off from a conversation and you're like, oh, I did not get nice vibes from this person. What is that? What vibes are just a form of energy. When you talk to somebody, you kind of like notice whether they have a positive vibe or a negative vibe. That's energy. The way we interact, a lot of times, like the way we interact is that, oh, I'll have a thought, and 2 minutes later, I'll probably like get a call from the person I was having the thought about. Or what is that? That's like because of the fact that we're all interacting on energy fields. That's why it's our subconscious in a way kind of is composed of that, and it's a part of a massive massive energy field. And now there's a lot of like schools of thought over here. Some people say that we are all a part of collective consciousness, which means that all of us are, like entangled, and like it's
Mhm.
all one consciousness, and we are all parts of it. So that's why anything that you're feeling, another person will be feeling as well. Now, and then there's another school of thought, which is the Neville Goddard kind of school of thought, which is like the law of assumption. He was the guy who kind of discovered it, law of attraction, law of assumption. Um, and he says about, or he talks about like how everybody is you pushed out, which means that everybody will represent a part of you um in your life. So your like everybody surrounded around you, or you're surrounded by, will be kind of representing a part of you. So it's very interesting. But how I understand all of this is that we are all energies, and we are interacting with each other in the form of energies. And so that's why it's very interesting how our brains can create these energies within us, and we can be more aligned in the world. We can be more aligned with the earth and the sky and everybody around us. And that's how we can kind of like go about our lives, rather than like having no clue about like how to live our life. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. That's a good way to put it. It's so palatable because quantum physics seems like it's scary to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I talk to people sometimes about it, and they're like, they just think I'm a little bit crazy or whatever the case may be. And then my one question that I like to ask them is, do you believe in Bluetooth? They go, yeah. I said, do you believe in Wi-Fi? They go, yeah. Or if you're religious, you believe in a God that, most of us haven't seen, right? There are people who claim they've seen God, but,
Yeah.
majority of the population have never seen that. And so I asked them, do you know how Bluetooth works? Nope, but you use that every day. You know how Wi-Fi works? Nope, but you use that every day, right? And so I'm telling you something about vibes, and people use that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's when they start to realize. And I said, you've never gone into a room and felt something strange, but you ignored it because you probably just thought it was you. And that's such a huge thing for me, which, I have two young daughters. And I'm so glad I'm a dad when it comes to when these topics come up, because they came to me and they were talking about something about at school and everything. And I told them, listen, girls, do never ignore that. Never ignore that feeling you got. And so that's an indication you need to listen to. So
Yeah.
that's one of the simpler ways that, maybe people can apply that in real life. Um, I guess, do you know, do you have any idea why they don't teach this in schools? Would be the first thing I would tell you, because it's just insane. It's like, are we like, we're an incomplete thing coming from school? It's like, why don't we teach this in school is the first thing I would maybe want to put to you. And
Yeah.
then, um, maybe what is the one thing that still blows your mind even now about quantum physics?
Um, so okay, so but to answer your first question, I think the reason why they don't teach this stuff in schools is because our entire system is based on like fear mentality, or like a mentality of lack. Like that's how brands acquire money from us. That's how like governments run. That's how these systems are made up and created around us. Like
Religion?
yeah, religion is the primary aspect of
Yes.
things. Like the way our society is structured is that we capitalize on each other's insecurities, and that's how people make money. And so of course, like if you start teaching kids that you can make your life exactly how you want it to be by just changing how you think, um, everyone will start doing it. And obviously that's not the way the world functions, because there's always a power hierarchy, and we know all about it, obviously, in the current world that we're living in. So I think that's why it's very safe for like these mega corporations or these politicians to kind of like keep on exercising the control that they have over us, because they are just capitalizing on the fear and the desperation and lack of people. So yeah, that's why they don't teach this stuff in school. Just that's kind of like a hot take, but like it is something that I've been thinking about for so long that
I'm so
I
glad, yeah, because I
yeah,
was thinking about
I
it.
started learning about this stuff like recently, and I was like, it has blown my mind how
Yeah.
it works, and the kind of life that you can have, and you can have exactly what you want. You can have
Mhm.
exactly what you want just because of the fact that you exist. But the real question is, can you start believing in that? Which I
Bam.
think people can't.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
And before you answer what still blows your mind about it, I just wanted to, bring this up. I was watching something. They did this experiment with fleas, and fleas, they jump. Like they jump pretty far and wide. And they got a bunch of fleas. They put them in a bottle when they were still babies. They put them in a bottle, and they put them in there for, I don't know, those fleas, they grow pretty fast. So it was a short amount of time. I don't know, a day or a couple of days. And when they took that lid off, these fleas would never jump out of this bottle. Okay. They've literally, their perception was like, this is as far as we can go because this is our programming. You get me? So I think that's part of the reason why people can't connect when we're talking to them about, like, you can have the life you want, or you can get pretty close to it. I'm talking about very close, like
yeah,
80% and above, right?
yeah,
But people are just, they're programmed so differently, and that's what, not trying to go off script here, but that's the reason why we have things like social security number, birth certificates, like you got to go into a system to go and feed the system so that a government can function, so that you can pay taxes, so that there's a hamster wheel going on, especially in a developed country like America, which I'm not trying to shit on the country. What I'm trying to say is, you're programmed to do certain things. We're all doing the same things. When you talk to people at work, all these people are thinking the same things. I'm like, why are we all worried about losing our jobs? All of us. Okay. Why are we worried about the pay and all this stuff? So it's very weird. For me, my kids go to school and everything. I have to be very honest with you. I don't really care about their grades that much. I care about the effort. I care about how they're going and showing up. I care about discipline. I care about sacrifice. And after that, I'm like, play, enjoy. That's all. Because how you gonna expect 30 kids in a class who are 5 years old to perform the same way on mathematics, geography, science, And I'm like, this is crazy. Like we're being conditioned. That's when I realized I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's being conditioned, you know? And it's just, it's in mass production, right? So I thought that was an interesting, kind of like an interesting take, but I'll push it back to you, Radhika, to maybe, if you want to add anything, that's fine. And then if you want to kind of talk about something that maybe still blows your mind about quantum physics as much as you've been studying it.
So not specifically about quantum physics, but like kind of segueing into the whole topic of like the law of assumption. And I mean, it's very, all of it is kind of like very mixed up. So you can't
Yes.
talk about one rather than talking about the other. But I think one of the things that still uh, blows my mind is the fact that um, how much your beliefs shape your life.
Mm,
And
all about it.
I don't say like that for only like good beliefs, like things that you will achieve, but even the things that you think, or either even the things that are not so nice will manifest in your life. You are living the life that you have always imagined to live. And if
Mm,
like all of your listeners, they just like ask themselves this question for just a moment of like self introspection, they will realize this. Every single person is living the version of reality that they believe they deserve. Nothing much, nothing more, nothing less. So if you can like, I mean, so many people, right, like if you can constantly like have thoughts about the fact that, oh, like I will not make enough money, or I'll lose my job, to go
yes,
back,
ma'am.
for example, or like, like I'll not have a loving relationship, whatever it is,
Mm,
can we just like flip the script? Can we actually start living from the assumptions that
mm,
I can have everything? I can have the ideal life, I can have the ideal partner, I can have the ideal, you know, career, and like all the money in the world, everything is mine. And like to kind of like stress upon this point and give you an example, if you think about like, how we always say that wealthy people will are always going to be wealthy, and like, like lower middle class, or um like underprivileged people are always kind of like, you know it's more likely than not for them to not make enough money in life.
mm,
um why does that happen? Why is it so easy for some people to make so much money, especially rich kids? Like, what's the cycle of all of it? It all comes down to your beliefs. Like the fact that it was so normal for so many people to make so much money for the longest time. Like money was, like, I grew up with the mentality that money does not grow on trees. Right? My parents were, obviously, I'm from India, and like I was I raised up in a middle class family, and they went through their own struggles, and then, like, yeah, everything was, I wouldn't say we were ever like poor, but it
mm,
was limited. Like
mm,
we were given an amazing upbringing, but it was in limited amounts. So we always grew up with the belief that, me and my sister, we always grew up with the belief that money does not grow on trees. You have to save. You have to sort of, you can't dream to make so much money. But even if you make so much money, you have to still save. And for the longest time, that was a belief I was operating from,
mm,
until I looked at it, until I started making my own money. And I was like, why do I have this belief? Like, it's not serving me. It's literally not serving me right now. Like, there are people who are making immense amounts of money just by sleeping. Why can't I do that? And that's when everything started changing. Because and I was like, no, I have to change this belief completely. I have to change my relationship with money completely. I think
yeah.
that has been something which has been an immense like self discovery in terms of the journey I've undertaken. So yeah.
For that. So when you said your relationship with money, what do you mean?
Just how you perceive money. A lot of times, like, people are
Yeah, give us like a
constantly,
little example that we can
yeah,
maybe
like every
chew on.
single time you receive a bill and you like, your heartbeat goes up 10 notches.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing I'm talking. Like, there's literally a book by a guy, and I forget the name of the person, but it's called Money Talk. And sometimes, like during like some sessions that I do with my therapist and his community, we read like random pages from that. And
Can we
one
get
of
your therapist number?
you can have him. Yeah, he's an amazing therapist. Like I
Okay,
mean,
great. He's
I'm
gonna have a
like,
lot of work now.
but yeah, no, the money will, if you don't have any gratitude for money in your life, and I think I was trying to explain the same point to my mom yesterday. If you don't have any gratitude for money in your life, if you don't have appreciation for money, if you are constantly thinking that like money is not going to come, or like money is evil, money is cruel, I never get money in my life, and your money comes but it doesn't stay with me, those things will be reiterated by your reality
Mhm.
until you change your relationship with money. So every single time
Yes, man.
money comes, you are grateful for it, and like you are kind of giving thanks for it, and also saying that there's more coming. And every time you
Yes.
spend money, you are just constantly telling yourself that, rather than operating with the lack mentality, because lack mentality will never get you anything. And we can talk about
Amen.
lack mentality like for ages. Like we can that
Exactly.
be a completely different podcast.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I live with an abundance mentality anymore. My relationship with money changed. I don't know, Kuya, what do you think? Like a year, 2 years ago, 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we definitely, the way Radhika explains it makes sense, right? We all kind of grew up like, you have to hold your money and save, and this
And
relationship
then
with money.
you're always, in our culture, you you can never tell people like, oh yeah, I'm doing good. Like, oh, this man,
Hmm. Hmm.
you could have like literally you can have three Lamborghinis in your thing in your garage. I mean, when people come to ask you like, man, so what do you do? Like how he was like, oh man, we're just trying, blah blah. And I'm like,
Hmm.
this is horrible. You can't live like that. Like you got to change your money mindset, and have an abundance mindset. Go ahead, Kuya.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, nah.
Every single, whatever you want, if you want $1 million, it's yours. You just have to change your beliefs around it. And a lot of times, like things that are like, and it's not just about wanting, by the way. Like wanting is again lack mentality. You don't get what you want, you get who you are being, and that's it. Like, period.
Woof, woof.
Damn.
You don't get what you want, you get who you are being.
If
Because
my
and
daughter was here, she'd be cringing.
I but yeah,
Sorry, yeah.
it's so true. And the moment you realize this, the moment you learn this fact, and like I think the whole of law of assumption is kind of based on this, that you have to be, or you have to think of yourself as a wealthy person for wealth to come into your life.
Come to you. Yeah, you can't receive what you can't handle, right? So
Exactly.
you have to walk that path to create new neurons in your brain to actually be able to handle this,
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
seen what happens to people who are given a great amount of things when they aren't ready for it, and it ruined their lives. Powerball winners, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they can't handle it. I mean, they have the money for 2 seconds, it's gone, right? So I think that's so huge. Radhika, I'll tell you something, and I'm going to throw it to my brother here. Kuya, how long did I say I wanted to have the job that I have right now? And I had already scaled it out, right? I was like, by 30, I'm making this much money, blah, 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 blah. I was just like, just barking all these things. It didn't happen by the time I was 30. Dang, I just exposed myself over there. Cut that part out. Uh, kidding. But Kuya, how long was I telling you that this is what I wanted to do? And then I'll also talk about where I live as well.
Yeah, man, I think it's, dude, you've been manifesting that thing for quite some time. And, we had these conversations damn near, 3, 4 years ago, bro, I would say,
Yeah, right on.
and you knew that you're going to get into sales. You knew this is what you wanted to do. And you knew that that's exactly the path that is going to be right for you. And you
And
kind of pursued that thing
I'll
for
tell you the
sure.
neuroscience behind this, by the way.
Talk to.
Neuroscience behind manifestation and how you get like things in your life. Basically, there's something called your reticular activating system, which is
Whoa. Did
the
you
lit
did you just cuss at us? Go ahead.
no, No, I did not. I like you guys.
Okay, good.
But yeah, so there's something called the RAS, or the Reticular Activating System, and that's basically the filter for your brain. Um, so if you have a certain belief, let's say it's the fact that I'm going to make $1 million in the next 1 year, something like that, some
Mhm.
crazy. I mean, and like all of this is again not about want; it's about literally believing that I will have it, that like choosing to persist in the assumption that I will have it. And that's the craziest part about all of this. It sounds so simple, but it's so like tough when you start applying it, especially when you're new to it.
So
Um,
it's like simple but complex. I don't know how to explain that, right? Because like it's like this is where you need to go. So you got the framework, but now you got to walk through the fire, right?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it is literally that, like, because your brain will try to trick you out of it again and again and again. Because your old version, the version that you've had until up until now, it's very hard to like reprogram your brain. It's a
Mm,
choice that you're constantly making every
mm.
step of the way, like every second of the day, because there's so many thoughts that you get. Anyway, going back to the reticular activating system. So the moment you start having a belief, and shifts are like instant, literally. The moment you decide that this is what is going to happen, your brain starts filtering for things in your reality which will satisfy that belief. That's the job of the reticular activating system. So that's why, and that's the neuroscience behind it, literally, that you will start seeing things in your reality to prove you
Yeah.
right. So,
Okay.
yeah.
No, go finish. I have a little. I try to relate these things to life in a way that is like that can prove it on a very small scale.
Mhm.
I'll add it after you're done with your.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So, it's as simple as that. So the moment you start thinking that I'm poor, your
Mm-hmm.
brain will filter out every single clue in reality to show you you're poor. And when you start feeding into that thought and belief, and again, it becomes a loop. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy,
Hmm.
literally.
Kuya,
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, yeah, I can't
bro.
agree more, man. Because
It's kind of like an algorithm. It's literally an
Gosh, Radhika,
algorithm.
I don't know if it's like this in your culture. I've had
I
to
mean,
have a conversation with a very close uh person, member of the family, with a very close member of the family. We will not disclose. About to say the name. No, I won't do it. But I was like, you cannot keep talking about this ad nauseum over and over, and there's nothing you can do to change this. You need to find another way out. You've been talking about this for years. It's like I can't listen to this anymore. Okay, I'm out of here. You're draining me. Find a different way to speak, or we're not going to speak anymore because I can't do this anymore. You know, Kuya, am I lying? Right?
nah,
It's,
dude.
it's like a victim mentality. It's like defeatist. It's like, dude, we're here now. Find a different way.
Radhika and I talked about this yesterday, and I think
Literally yesterday, we were
she
talking
cracked.
about the
She cracked.
exact same
Picking
thing.
that word, dropping down, bruh. And I mean, just to kind of piggyback on some of the guys, you think you guys are talking about. I have a few examples like this manifestation thing works. So, Gary, I think lives over there.
Yeah, I know
Local.
Gary. Yep.
Yo,
Shout out Gary, Columbus,
yeah,
Ohio.
shout out QB. Man, I went, to visit him in Powell. I'd never been to Powell before, and at that time we were living Moreland Drive, bro. So you're kind of
You know what I'm
driving.
saying? Shout out Moreland Drive out in Columbus.
Dude, you're like, man, the scenery is kind of changing, man. This is kind of nice. This is nice, And then, dude, I pulled up to GB's house. I'm like, damn, this is how white people live, bro.
They're living like they got that 800 credit score, huh?
They're like, sure, man, And at the time, I told the wife that, man, one day we're gonna live here. I just knew
Ooh,
it.
I never heard that one, bro. That's kind of
Yeah,
cool to hear.
yeah, yeah. So GB invited us for dinner at his place, and I was just like, damn, this is nice, man. I really like the neighborhood, and
Yeah.
a couple years down the line, we bought a place, a couple miles away from where he lived. And so it's just literally the power of the way Radhika is explaining it so eloquently. It's like, if you can see it, you can actually
Hmm.
really slowly put the pieces together. So for us, it was a matter of building our credit, getting better job, where we can afford a bigger house. And we just kept on working, kept on working. And then boom, once we got a pre-approval, we were like, this is it, man. We had got it into a contract in a different place. And we're like, nah, man, let's go look at foul, bro. And boom, that thing just happened like that. So like truly the mind is powerful. And we have an intruder here who wants ice cream. So we're gonna get him some ice cream, then I'll be back.
We love it. We love it. We love it.
But
We love
continue, guys.
we love
Continue,
it.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the example I was gonna give, Radhika, was like I said, I got my two daughters, 8 and 10, pretty sure. But but when driving around, so first of all, my kids don't have cell phones. They have iPads. I shut them off like 6 months ago. They've never even asked about them. They're dead somewhere. I realized, what I need to do to just help them out, which means I have to be more involved. So, like when we're driving around and things like that, we'll try to play games to keep them engaged, or they'll read books and things, stuff like that. But it's like what you were saying about um, your mind will manifest the things that you keep feeding it, right? So I'll tell the kids, and I'll be like, "Hey, girls, look out there for red cars. When we're driving." And they
Yeah.
literally they'll go like, "Oh, and then they'll go like, "Oh my God, there's so many red cars." And I
Yeah.
said, "Okay, um, there was a lot of black cars. Did you notice them?" They go, "I didn't see a single one."
Exactly.
I'm teaching them stuff. I'm learning more. I'm just like,
Exactly.
you
There is
know,
a I was talking to somebody recently who mentioned this to me. I think Kuya was the one to mention this, but I don't remember. But like someone was telling me about this experiment, which was like like those Instagram like reels, which has like objects one after the other. Kuya, were you the one who was telling me about this? The yellow thing, and then not observing any red.
No,
Um,
doesn't
no,
sound
you were
familiar.
not
Doesn't
one.
sound familiar.
Okay. So yeah, like those reels where it's literally like microsecond, like objects go
hmm
um, one after the other, and basically the guy was like, okay, you have to notice and note down like three yellow things out of the bunch of things. So the person who was taking this test goes through this test, and then um in the end the guy just goes like, okay, give me one thing that was red, and this
hmm
person couldn't name like a single one. And okay, they could name like five or seven like yellow things but not a single red thing. So it
Uh-huh.
see that like the moment you start noticing things, or like the moment you feed a belief to your brain. And our brain, by the way, are superpowers. Like if there
They're
is one
super what?
superpowers, like there if
Yeah, yeah.
there's our brains are literally like the most powerful powerhouse out there. Literally, like these
See,
models
I
that
wasn't wrong to call you a superwoman. See?
I am not, I'm literally not. I think my everyone's brains, but yes, like
I
I
I agree. I agree. Yeah, everybody.
like everyone's brain. Like if I start believing I'm a superwoman, I will be a superwoman tomorrow.
Let's
Like you know what I
go.
mean? That claim that identity, because it's all about like claiming that identity and
Yeah.
for yourself. So, and like that's why like it's so interesting how you can prime your brain before any single incident in your life. And that's and this is where everything comes from. So you can literally shift your identity into the version of you that you want to be, and literally everything around you changes. So like for example, if you go into a meeting and you like 5 minutes before that you tell yourself like, I'm the most confident person on the planet, or
Yep.
like I am going
Go.
to
Let's
I'm going to
go.
like nail this meeting. You say all of these things to yourself, and you will see the shift in the way you will
Man.
act.
Talk to yourself. Talk to
Yeah, like
yourself. Have
yeah,
conversations with
yeah,
yourself.
literally. It's big and
Radhika, when
yeah,
people meet me today, people who have known me 10 years plus, they
yeah,
go, literally, this is what they say to me. It's like you're a different person in the same body.
yeah,
And I'm like, yeah, I had to shift. I can't continue to live like that. I'm living for people. I'm doing all this kind of stuff. I was like, "Dude," I stopped all that. I'm a dad first, always. I am my family is very important to me. My brother, my mom, all these people, right? And then my friend group, all this stuff changed everything for me. I don't worry about money the same way I used to, because I just noticed it too. I was like, oh my gosh, I have this couple of people in here that I've been talking about money for 30 years. They just like, "Blah, blah, 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 blah." But I was like, my gosh, they're still here. And I'm like, I'm not gonna live that life. I'm gonna choose something different. And if I can tell you that my my even my body feels different.
Yeah.
I've gone through some tough things, like even at work, and literally I had to go and do that. I had to go back to the playbook. So when I wake up in the morning, I'll stop and I'll go 10 to 20 minutes. I'll start saying positive shit to myself. Just that
Yeah.
I'm just repeating it
Yeah.
slowly. Whatever I'm doing, I'm brushing teeth, I'm talking to myself. And then I started doing that with the kids around too, you know. And I something you said earlier, Radhika, really like spoke to me, especially like as a girl dad, was like, and it's in the same kind of sphere. What I want the kids to learn is the belief in themselves. You get me? So this might be controversial, but I am God. God is within me. I am able to do all these things. If I was made by Him, I'm by Him. I'm from earth. You know what I'm saying? I am earth. I'm here for a purpose. I wasn't, the chances of me being born are ridiculous. The chances of my ancestors being here now is ridiculous. It means I am a special being. I'm unique. I have something to contribute to the society.
Yeah.
The best thing I can give my kids is confidence. Once they get that, they will have anything they want, because there's so much society pressure to be this and to be that and all that. I tell my kids, be the weird ones. Be weird. It's fine. You know, like go against the grain. Follow your ambition. Try to hit that. I told my brother the other day, my girls are, I told you, I said already how old they are. Let me tell you, they had like a little excursion at school. I was like, man, these kids, they're supposed to run how many miles, all this and that. I mean, of course, we're Kenyan, but we're not from the tribe that runs, by the way, guys. So everybody chill out. Okay. We don't do, okay. Chill. We're from the Luya tribe. Okay. All we do is eat ugali and like you have big calves. Okay. But what I can tell you is these kids, my 8-year old, she ran uh 2.5 miles. 2.5 miles. And she was like, Dad, I don't think I can do it. Blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what, honey? It's cool. Let me tell you. Go out there and give it your best. Okay. I think you can do it. You can do whatever you want. She thought she was gonna run for like half a mile, blah, blah. She ran 2.5 miles. My oldest daughter ran 3 miles. 3 miles. I mean, yeah, you know these kids.
Mhm.
Literally. And they came back with such a, it's like they were different, like their brains kind of like, oh my gosh, I did that. You know what I mean? And that's why I tell people as parents, what you're saying, Radhika, is very important to reinforce them with the right cocktail of these things so
Yeah.
that they can understand, like, listen, you're atoms and you can operate at a very high level, you know? End of the
Absolutely.
soliloquy.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. That's exactly how it happens. You can literally shift identities into the the version of you that you want to be that day. Like
Yeah.
in the morning, you can the reason why you are doing all of that is so that you can shift into an identity which is more aligned to a positive individual. And like similarly, you can shift every single belief. Like beliefs are very malleable. They are the most
Yeah.
malleable things on the
I
planet.
love
You
that. Yeah.
have
I
the
love that.
intention, and your beliefs will shape your life. Fortunately, or
Absolutely. Yeah.
every single thing that you believe about yourself is going to come true. So if you
Yes.
believe that you are unworthy, life will keep on throwing
Yes.
things at you that make you feel unworthy. If you believe
Yeah.
that you're not accepted or not loved or not
Yes.
worthy to get the success, life will show those things to you. So I mean, what's there to lose to change your beliefs? Like,
That's what
what's
I tell
literally what's
people.
there
I'm
to
like, yeah, like just go down this road. If it's not good, then you can just walk back and keep doing what you're doing. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
and like the world is so wretched right now and everything, and it's weird actually being able to find some peace in all this stuff before I go to bed, because I have a little bit of control, which is this right here, and people don't understand. Like your mind is always trying to protect you, so that's why you can't. You know what I'm saying? That's why we don't all look like those Instagram models that are working out. Just I'm like, damn, what's going on with these guys? It's because, man, you're sitting on your couch, your brain, still has the programming of some people you've never even met, right?
Mhm.
From your ancestors, from wherever. They used to hunt, gather, whatever they did. And so you're sitting on the couch and it's like, dude, you're comfortable, you're safe, you got food, There's no need for you to get up and go work out for what, man? We good. Like, just chill right here. So now you got to go against that and be like, nah, man, listen, I know we're good, but I need to do this to continue to be a decent person in life, you know? Which kind of leads me into something else, Radhika, that I am obsessed about. Okay. Superposition. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that or how it works. Because I think this thing is what really like brought me into quantum physics in the biggest way. Like the double split,
Oh, yeah,
experiment or whatever.
the quantum entanglement. Is that what you
Yeah.
mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was literally just reading an article about it, like 10 minutes before we started doing this. But
Okay.
there's a new, like, I think, experiment that came out, which said that. Okay, so actually, let's talk about it. Like, we'll get into it. But what's your
Okay.
question?
Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, I was just, it's completely an open ended. You can go wherever you want with it.
Yeah. So
But
I have so much to
I
say
just to
about
make
this.
sure we're talking about the same thing, right? I was talking about the superposition, which is like, I guess it's like the principle that a physical system, like an electron, or a wave, can exist in multiple states or like configurations
Yeah,
simultaneously rather
yeah,
than just one, right? So like in quantum mechanics, I think like the particle like holds all the potential states, right? So
mhm,
like at once until it's observed, at which point the superstition collapses into one defined state, which is why Einstein was like, hey, this is like some weird stuff that happens when you're not looking, but when you look, this is what it looks like. It sounds
exactly.
so crazy. I don't know.
I know. I know it is crazy. I mean, all of quantum physics is, but I think this is the most interesting part of all of this. Like, okay, so I think law of assumption also kind of comes a lot from uh the Bible. And I'm not.
Yes.
Um,
You say you're a Christian. You're not Christian. Okay.
Also, the more you read Neville Goddard, he's Christian, so he like talks a lot about like the Bible stuff. And but I'm a very practical person, and I need science to back up things in my life. um
Welcome.
Also, at the same time, I'm a very curious person, so I will explore all sides of the coin before I come to a conclusion. So at least, like, this is how I understand the law of assumption and all of this
Hmm.
stuff, beliefs and everything. It's that it's your single version of your life that you can possibly imagine, or not even imagine. Every single version of your life already exists. All right. So how to put it kind of in an example. So the version of me who is I'm currently a data scientist, but the version of me who is I don't know, like a nurse or a rock star or a CEO or a writer or something else, who is not living in the US right now, who is living back in India, who never decided to move. Um, or who decided to go like live in Europe, or who made like certain decisions in her life, did not make certain decisions in her life. All of those versions already exist. So there are literally infinite possibilities for your life. Why? Because at every point of time, you are taking decisions. And those decisions are driven by your beliefs, your like experiences, all that. So literally, like, there's so many folks in the road all the time. And all of these folks produce different lives. Um, or not lives, like versions of yourself.
Versions,
Versions,
yeah.
yeah. Um,
Which is
and
part of
when
like
we
sometimes people go like, oh, I had this dream, of this stuff, and it's like, what, like you didn't live that, right? Like, that's never happened to you, and it's like, where did the dream come from? Just like simple things like that. Like, where did that come from? And one more thing, Radhika, so people are like, oh, this is not your brain, and I'm like, okay, let me ask you something. If you don't think your brain is that powerful, before you go to bed, what do? You literally go like that until your body follows what you taught it to do, and then you fall asleep. Literally,
yeah.
it's not a switch. You're going like, and I'm like, this. People don't understand how powerful the brain is. Anyway, yeah. Continue. I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, no, you're fine. But that's exactly, like, that's so true. Um, And I'll come to that point, but the yes, so many versions of you out there, right? At
Yes.
any point in time, you can choose to be the version of you that is probably doing something else, that has the
Yes.
relationship, that has the job, that has the um like whatever you want to call it, like that has the money, that has um their dream business, whatever it is. You can collapse these timelines. These are like different timelines, and you can collapse the wave function, because if we have to think about it from the physics perspective, when Einstein discovered that all of these states exist at once, all of these states
Hmm.
of the atom, when you they only come about when they're being observed, but they still exist. It's exactly like Schrodinger's cat, which is alive and dead at the same time. I mean, and like it's like a little bit hard to kind of comprehend, but
It's
stay with
yeah, it's a
me
bit
for a
tricky,
minute.
but it makes sense though, you know.
Yeah, like it's like I mean, I read this great book that I recommended to Kuya, and I think this is the easiest way for our brains to comprehend it, because our brains are also limited.
Hmm.
Just telling you, like it's exactly the flies example that you gave, which is that we cannot even think beyond a certain point, and therefore this concept is just so hard to grasp. But like yeah, like the Midnight Library is the book name of the book, whoever has read it. But in that, like she kind of like decides to, and this is not a spoiler, this is literally at the back of the book, but like she decides to commit suicide, and then she ends up in the Midnight Library, which is this library with life and death. um, and she gets to experience various different lives. Like so she gets to experience lives based on the regrets she's had in the past. So the regret of like not marrying a person, the regret of not being a rock star, or like choosing not choosing that, or the regret of like every single thing. She gets to live the a different version of her life. um and that's exactly what this concept says, which is that you can live the version of reality that you want by simply
Yeah.
making the decision to live that version of reality. And how do you do that? How do you collapse timelines? You start being the version of you who is there in that timeline. So you start acting, thinking, um, feeling every
Yeah.
single thing from that version of you who is already in that
Hmm.
timeline, who already has the relationship, who already is married, who already is living in a different country, who already has the scholarship or the job or the offer letter, whatever. You start being that person. Goes back to
Absolutely.
like that thing where we talk about like you don't get what you want, you get who you are being.
Hmm.
You can
I
so
love it.
how are you doing that? You are literally shifting realities, because in that reality you already have it. So you need to align yourself with that reality, and that's exactly
Yeah.
what the law of assumption is. So I mean, it's all
Yeah.
a little crazy, a little hard to comprehend, but the more I have been like studying about this subject, the more I have been like experiencing it myself, it sometimes blows my mind that
In
I
the best way, right?
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And you know, so I just to kind of like add on a little bit to about what you're talking about, you know, the superposition thing. By the way, guys, if you if you want to learn about superposition, go watch Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man, the second one, okay, and then you figure that out. But um, just imagine I'm holding like a coin, right? And in our normal world, if I flip the coin and catch it in my hand, it's either heads or tails, right? So it's one or the other. But that's how our brains work. I mean, that's how our brains are wired to work. But in the quantum world, it's like a tiny world of atoms, and that coin is doing something impossible. So, like superposition is the reality that the quantum particles exist in all possible states at the same time. So instead of being heads or tails, like the quantum coin is spinning so fast on that table that it's essentially both at once. You know, it's. I'm sorry, I'm getting excited here. My voice is like raising, but it's like a blurry cloud of maybes. It's like it isn't until you look at like um you look at it or maybe like measure it that the universe is forced to make a choice, and the coin like finally snaps into a single position. You know, so I thought that was really awesome what you explained. I want to kind of add on to that. And I had a question. You might not know about this, and if not, that's fine. Because we always interested in what the government is doing because they drive so much, you know, of what we consume and all these kind of things. But I don't know if you guys knew this, but the government about 20 years ago, I'm sorry, they spent 20 years and millions of dollars. I think it was the CIA. This is all, it's not classified information, it's out there. They were studying like the psychic ability for intelligence operations, and it worked, which is super. I mean, it just sounds so crazy. And I don't know why nobody talks about this, and like, what does that tell you about what governments were studying about consciousness as a weapon or a tool before the public was even in this conversation, I guess I don't know if you know about that or not, but what do you think is sitting like in files that maybe we haven't seen yet? Have you come across something that is kind of influential, but is not really in the mainstream out there?
I mean, I think a lot of stuff is finally being discovered by
Yeah,
people, finally. And I
and
mean,
being released out into the world. Yeah,
yeah, I think a lot of it has been brought to the forefront because like neuroscience has taken off, and obviously like these are people who are doing research by themselves, and then they go out and become coaches and manifestation coaches and life coaches and all of that. So a lot of this knowledge is like finally coming to the forefront. But I do know about this. I have heard about this, that in 1996 or 1997, something like that, um the government hid a lot of like uh reports to do with experiments, and specifically to do with consciousness and subconsciousness.
yes,
So,
huge.
because like human consciousness is so highly powerful, like all of this boils down to consciousness. Every single thing we've been talking about is consciousness. The moment you become conscious of another state existing, another reality existing, is when you change things, is when
Yeah,
you timelines. And if literally, and I think about this all the time, but like if the collective consciousness of people become becomes aware, becomes powerful, it will literally change. It can overthrow governments, literally. Like right now, just people don't think about this stuff. People are like kind of just so muddled up into their own lives. And of course, like all of us have like things that we're working on, and even people who are trying to manifest things in their lives, they're not really thinking about like the common good and all of that, which is fine, or everything is fine. Like I think you will experience the version of reality that you think is true. And the moment your like literally the collective consciousness, I think, becomes aware enough, or like people become aware enough to recognize that there is something at play over here, and then they can use their collective consciousness to like bring about changes. I think it will be a different world we will be living in completely. And
yeah,
that's personal
go-
opinion, but
yeah,
yeah.
I
yeah.
got
Go
a
ahead.
question for you guys, that's feeling about, folks kind of being a little bit blinded by not having their third eye opened in a sense. So, with quantum physics, kind of like the observer, you affect reality, just like what you're talking about, Radhika. Now, I know we're into AI as well, and AI is amazing. So when AI starts observing and processing the world, because it will happen, does that actually change things too? When it knows that, dude, I'm made of metal, they're made of bone, I could probably kill this one. You know that? I mean, like when they're like, okay, I'm actually the superior being here because I can process gigabytes, terabytes in a matter of seconds. I am actually now at the top of the food chain. So how would that actually affect? And I know this is a crazy question, but
And before you even go there, after you're done, Kuya, before Radhika responds, I'd like to add on to that.
go ahead, bro.
Oh,
Brother,
I
that's
thought,
really my question. Yeah, like
well,
Oh,
yeah,
you should go
that's what I'm
ahead,
saying.
because I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but yeah, I'll try to. Like, you should go ahead, totally.
Yeah, no, I want to make sure Kuya got off everything first.
no, that's my
Knows the
question. 'Cause-
gist of it. Yeah, and
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
but this is a question to both of y'all. From what I'm to understand, I'm not, that savvy at AI. It's obviously in my life at some capacity. but right now, what AI looks to me like is, on a big scale, right, on the wide scale, it just looks like it's not really AI yet. It just looks like it kind of downloaded all this information and it's using that information to kind of help us do all these things. This is a very like archaic way to kind of describe it, because there are books in the libraries and a lot of information that AI doesn't have. So I don't understand. I don't believe that it's sentient yet. You know what I mean? But maybe possibly it could come there. Right now, I don't. I just don't see it being that. But I could be wrong. By the way, I have a gripe to pick with maybe Gemini or Copilot, because you read me down. They led me down a bad rabbit hole this week for work. The crap was wrong, and I was like, I had to cuss at it, man. I was like, listen here, sir, you work for me. No, I'm sorry. All right, go ahead, go ahead.
I mean,
Not good.
like if you are not, you have to be, getting the right stuff out of it. It's as good as like the person who is asking it questions, probably.
Okay, you see, and that's the other thing, Radhika, right? So it's only as good as I am to also keep checking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
And by
no.
the way, this was stuff like, like this is stuff that's online. I'm like, hey, go research these item numbers, come back with this stuff. And man, I trusted it one time. It was terrible. I had to go manually look at everything because I sent out wrong information. And it was like, no, no, no. I said, did you look at the other manufacturers, blah, blah. Man,
Yeah. Prompt
Copilot's
engineering, man.
lazy, all right? Or somebody. Hey, you know what?
I don't think it's, I don't know. Like this is again my just my opinion, but but I don't like Copilot that much. I
Yeah,
Okay,
think
no, no, no.
there you go.
Using the
And
wrong
yeah,
tool,
you're
bro.
gonna give us some ideas, both of you guys, and give us some idea. I love Claude, but yeah, go ahead.
Claude is
Claude is great.
amazing.
Yeah.
Claude is
Yeah.
like I would sing praises about Claude Code.
I love Claude. I love Claude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
bro. I think what you're talking about with the like consciousness, the one thing I could point you to is, you can build a bot and allow it to be autonomous. So like that essentially is almost a descriptor of consciousness, right? Because, like you think about the self-driving cars, right? They have all these data points, but then they're reacting to the world around them in real time, right? And they're still harnessing data. So, like with the Teslas of the world, that's why they go on million mile trips or whatever. They keep harnessing data. They have as much data as possible, but they're constantly like looking and mapping instantly in real time, like, hey, this is a human being in front of me. I need to slow down and stop. I got a car to my right. I can't really go over there. So it's debatable, man. I think we'll probably get to a place where it will be conscious, but we'll still debate that it's not conscious, because
Okay.
yeah, that's just my opinion. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that's
that
very interesting. I never
yeah.
thought about it like that, especially with like the Tesla stuff, which uh shout out Elon for everything he's done. I got my gripes with him and everything, but I'm sure he's just having bad days after bad days, because Anthropic is just like they're moving so fast, doing so much. I'm so impressed. I can't even, you know what I mean? They recently came out with something where it can run reports for you while you're sleeping, and the next day you can come out, get your reports, give you the agenda. I mean, it's just I don't know. They're really impressive, and of course, I love that they're not trying to use their technology for surveillance and things like that. So go ahead,
Hmm.
Radhika.
Yeah,
Agree.
probably that flow is yours, flow is yours.
Oh, what are we talking about again?
If you had anything to do with, like, if you have any comments about the consciousness of AI, and you
Okay.
know
Um, okay. Let me think about this. So, or let me try to frame what I think about this. I don't think that AI will ever um, gain consciousness, and by consciousness, I
that's
mean
probably the
that,
best news we can expect to hear. Hear me?
like, because consciousness is innately human, or subconscious is innately human. So every single thing that we've been talking about up until this point, you you cannot have a machine do it, because it's just not. There is something called a soul inside all of us,
Mhm.
and a machine will not never have that. Having said that, can it can it gain the ability of our mind to be creative? 100%. It can be creative. It can probably also get to a point where it's uh sentient, probably. Yes.
Man, that is
But
crazy.
I don't think it's going to be conscious, and I think there is a distinction between that.
Do you
because you
guys
can.
think it would take over, completely replace humans? I find humans very hard to kill. You know, I mean, just
Yeah, we've
hard, right?
survived a lot. We have
I
survived.
mean, quite a bit, right? You know, I mean, it's hard to imagine that you could outsmart human beings. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
and you know, I even give it to the. Of course, I'm going to pivot into politics, but I'll even give it to the like for instance, look at the American military and its might and its intelligence and uh, all the technology and everything. What happened in Afghanistan? You couldn't take that out. What happened? You know, oh, Vietnam, what happened? They ain't got nothing over there. You guys couldn't take that one either. You know, like there's just something about human beings that's hard. Like you cannot, it's hard to, because we pivot and shift, we pivot and shift and we adapt all the time. So I don't know, but I don't want us not to exist anymore, but people are really worried about that whole situation down
I
the
think
line.
that's gonna happen.
You don't think that's possible either, right?
I don't, because of the fact that even if it can happen, I don't think it's like anywhere close. Doesn't mean it cannot happen, but
Yeah.
I would hope it doesn't happen.
You know what I'm saying?
I honestly have like, yeah, it's depressing to think that that will happen
My
someday.
gosh.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, it's scary.
but I think in that, and that's why like I feel like it's so important for people to understand the power that they hold, just by the innate power they hold, just by the virtue of the fact that they are here and they exist, and they have a subconscious mind and a conscious mind, and they have consciousness. So I think that's very important for people to like start like understanding. Otherwise, like, yes, what's the distinction between
yeah.
us
No,
and like AI things that can perform much better than humans now? So
correct. Also, Radhika, super just and queer to you as well. Just a super outlandish question, nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. Do you guys believe in aliens?
I do.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's no way we're the only species of like livable things in the whole universe, man.
Well, we are humans, so we are full of ourselves, you know.
Yeah, yeah. There's this
We
scientist who was talking about the how the universe essentially he says there's like no big bang. It's just that well, maybe there are like multiple big bangs, you know. So every time there's like a new universe, it kind of starts out slowly, continues to grow, you know, we get all our planets and all that stuff, and then it kind of condenses down and then boom again. And so it's just like a never ending cycle of, you know, creation constantly, constantly. And so he's people are like, you're crazy, but he's like, dude, even Einstein's law of relativity was crazy at the time. And so, but it makes sense because I think the most powerful what you call it, this thing, the satellite, is it a satellite? Nah, what do you call it? The thing that is in space that goes to like far planets.
Rockets,
Yeah, not that, but whatever. That
spaceships,
thing, the Hubble telescope or whatever the hell it is, it brought back images from 300 million years ago of like fully formed stars, and they say that that should not be possible 300 million years ago. You know, so it kind of shows that our universe, as we understand it, is actually a little bit. We are still learning how it actually comes to be, and so, and I can send you the link to this. I don't really understand it too well, but it's quite fascinating. And to jump back before Radhika answers, I also saw that as a mathematician saying like AI solved. I think there's like this annual five hardest tests of maths that are always new every year, right? And so then this AI solved, I think, three of the five problems that's never been solved by a human being. And so that proves that some of these models are like, you know, quite supreme, you know, like they're really doing things that, you know, other humans have never done when it comes to like their processing capabilities. And so it's, I think we'll get there before we want to as a society. We might just stumble, like, you know, people stumble on medication, they're doing research for something else, and then boom, they stumble on like the GLP-1 stuff, right? I think somebody will accidentally get it to like that place where we get to AGI and beyond without even like maybe us wanting to get there on purpose. But just, sorry, Radhika, you can go back to the other question that was had asked, and if I probably lost you completely, that's fine.
what was
I was just about the aliens, Radhika, but you're
oh,
Yeah.
good. I think
I
you
mean, I
already,
believe in
yeah,
them. I
yeah.
think that we as human beings know very little, and when I say know very little, in our conscious minds, we know very little. Um, in within we know a lot. Like within our subconscious, we know everything, but our conscious minds, our logical minds, know like probably don't does or let's scrap that. Let's start again. Sorry.
She said,
Yeah,
let's
I was
stop
going to
that.
say that our conscious minds don't know a lot of stuff that's out there. So it only knows like 0.00001% of the entire universe. So it would be really arrogant, honestly, to believe that we're the only ones out here. Um, and yeah, so that's why I do believe in in the fact that aliens exist. Um, for
But
sure.
if you like, if you believe in things like the Bible, the Quran, whatever have you, what I don't understand why you couldn't believe in aliens. Like that makes no sense to me. You know, um. So that I mean that's a huge. I agree with you all. I think the probably
Think
aliens
there are
out
like
there.
multiple universes out there, or really
Right.
like
It'd be crazy, to think like we're the only ones here. And truly, we've been left alone for so long. We are gonna be the ones that destroy ourselves, I think, like we're just, I don't know. But okay, let me keep moving this along. I wanted to kind of talk about, so Radhika, before I start winding this down, because I have so much more other stuff I want to talk about, but I'm not going
Yeah, yeah,
to.
we're like an hour. This guy's just still going.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll start winding it down, Radhika. And then if you have something that you really wanted to portray in this um on this podcast today, so that we don't miss it, do you have something that you just kind of wanted to like put out there?
like
Because
TLDR.
okay, do it. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
is-
have like a TLDR. You want a TLDR of the conversation?
well,
In a
I'm
way.
saying something that you feel passionate about that maybe we haven't talked about that you want to make sure is
Oh,
in here.
okay,
That's what
okay.
I mean. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have anything in there that maybe you wanted to come across, or I'm gonna close this out. I got some good stuff that I think will guide people to like a nice close.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. You
so
can.
okay, thank you. How do I say thank you in your language?
Namaste. No, I don't
It's
know.
oh well, I speak Hindi, or Hindi is my mother tongue. And you say dhanyavad in Hindi for thank you.
Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad. The
Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad.
yes, yes.
Okay, there we go.
Shout out my people out there. We appreciate you. We love you out there. Okay, which by the way, I didn't know this, you guys, but there's a decent population of African immigrants, I guess, that have a place in India. They live there. It's like a whole section where they live.
Mhm.
This is in Yemen as well. I'm not sure about Iran, but it's just amazing to me about the things that we don't know about all our cultures.
Yeah,
But
there's so many communities in India. There's like a whole Portugal community.
what?
There's a Parsi community. Yes, there's so many communities.
Yeah,
Like
and India is huge,
yeah,
so it makes sense. Okay, um, for someone hearing this for the first time, Radhika, just kind of bring us into here. Where do they start, right? So I would say something like meditation keeps coming up for everything. Well, when I research, this keeps coming up. Everything I research, it's like, is it too simple? Is it a good point to start? And then talk about intention as well, like setting deliberate, being deliberate versus just kind of moving through life in a reactive manner. And then for you personally, how has this kind of changed you? And then we'll kind of come to a close here.
okay.
Three
So,
quarter, man. Sheesh.
Sorry,
so
sorry, Priya. I know you gotta go. I'm sorry.
No. I'm saying that's a three-part question. It's I feel sorry for Radhika.
Man, she can retain very well, so that's why I kept on adding on. Because I asked her the first question, she hit it, and then I asked her two the next time she hit it. I asked her three, she was hitting it. So yeah,
no, but I
she.
have asked a couple of times that what
Okay,
will,
okay.
but
If you want me, I can read those back, but I
no,
think
so
it's kind of
I think
morphed into one thing, really.
mhm. So, how do you begin? So, I can talk about, I mean, like, obviously, like, there is no right way to manifest. Like, let me just put it out there. And I mean, all the manifestation coaches talk about this. And if a manifestation coach is like literally telling you that this is the only way to manifest your dream life or your whatever, that's not it. Like, literally every legit coach that I have found, every healthy coach that I have found, um, says this, that there's no single way to manifest. Like a lot of people get into it because obviously they want a certain desire, and then slowly they go through this process where there's something called self concept, which is that every single thing that you believe about yourself becomes so strong that they in the end don't even need their manifest like desire, like they're like over it kind of. So that tends to happen for a lot of people, but like I think the easiest way to get into this stuff is Neville Goddard. He's the guy who talked about this, and he has a lot of lectures on YouTube. You can just literally, search Neville Goddard manifestation, and you'll get plenty of resources. And he talks a lot about like the law of assumption and um, getting what you want, and your beliefs and all that good stuff. But I would agree with you that meditation is really helpful, because what that does is it gives you a knowing, or if it gives you a view into your um, inner world a little bit, and it gives you a view into how what you're focusing on moment to moment. And if we believe the fact that, or not believe, but this is a fact that your thoughts create your belief, your beliefs create your reality. So basically, your thoughts are creating your reality. So if you are not looking at your
Mm,
thoughts, you're thinking on a minute to minute basis, you are probably not doing it correctly. You will probably like be doing all of your affirmations or like visualizations, whatever, and still not be doing it correctly, still not be seeing anything in your reality. And that's because what is the script that runs in your mind constantly? So what is like you might believe now that or you might like be doing your affirmations and saying things like, oh, I'm getting my perfect relationship, or I'm getting my perfect job, or whatever. But if you are constantly thinking about the fact that you're not worthy, you're unloved, all of that stuff is constantly going on in your mind, then
yeah,
it's not going to result in anything. So yeah, that's why meditation helps a lot, because it helps you really be in the moment. And the more you do it, the more easier it becomes to be in the moment, in like the moments that we are not paying attention to our
yeah.
thoughts.
I love
Uh,
that.
yeah. And other than that, of course, like I think if you are, if there's like some things in your past that you need to deal with, therapy is a great thing. Everyone should do it, in my opinion. Um,
It's
you should
therapies for healthy people too. In fact, if you're healthy, go to
every single
therapy.
person should do it, just to understand their past, and like
Yes.
like process it and deal with it. And because it's very important to get to some limiting beliefs are something that you can't like flip the script on. Like you have to go inside and like understand where it comes from, and then tackle all of that. So inner child work, energy healing, um whether that's
Oh,
like talk
inner
therapy.
child works powerful. It was
So
powerful for me
powerful,
too.
so
Yeah.
powerful. It has changed my life.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, but like I'm a different person because of all of that today.
Yeah.
In terms of and to answer your, so yeah, those are some of the things that you can do. Some books and people that I can mention is, so books. I think Power of Your Subconscious Mind is a really good one that is very easy to read, and that like usually people get into this stuff because of that. Another book that I would recommend is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Dr. Joe Dispenza writes a lot about this stuff, and he gives the science behind it, so that's very interesting. All the like lectures and series by Neville Goddard, again, you can get into that stuff. I think Louise Hay writes a lot about this stuff as well, so you can get into her kind of writing. But yeah, those are some of the people and books that
Thank
I
you.
can mention. There are a lot of coaches online, and you on YouTube. The one that I really like is there's this person called Genevieve. Her page is called Manifest with Genevieve. I really like her.
And we'll put all this stuff in the
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there. We'll include all
Mhm.
these information on the yeah.
Yes.
We'll post it. Yeah.
Um, yeah, but she is amazing. There's another one called Manifest with Missy Renee. Like, I think both of these, they give a very healthy way to manifest. Like, because manifestation a lot of times in these communities can become unhealthy, and that's the main critique of this stuff as well. Because it shouldn't at no point of time feel unhealthy. It should at like you should not be like, oh, I'm affirming, 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 and I feel like so shitty about myself, and like
I
that
never
should
thought
not happen.
about that, Radhika. You know what I'm saying? Like, ever since I've started to do this stuff, I've never done it and felt shitty. I've never done
Yeah,
it and felt like crap.
yeah.
That's so powerful. I've never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep
That's
going. Yeah.
that should not happen. That should not be happening. And if that's happening, like if you are literally like thinking all the time that why is it not coming about, and like I can't do this, or I can't even do this properly, that should not be happening. Then
Yeah.
that means you need some help from these coaches. So but there's plenty of resources available online. There are a lot of Neville Goddard, like Reddit threads, or like Reddit threads in general. There's so many people who have like success stories. You can always get into those things. But I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to how it makes you feel.
Yes.
How you have, like, you will never have enough proof in the law itself until you experience something.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Like it's not something we can show to you. Be like, oh, look, you have to go through it. Yeah.
you have to go through it. You have to like persist in the living in the end, or like the wish fulfilled. And like when things, your own mentality is going to change, your identity is going to change. We are always changing as human beings. Every single moment, every single person is always changing. But can you
Yes.
like start believing in yourself? Can you start trusting in yourself and believing that you can get the life that you desire
You
just
deserve
because
it.
you exist? I think it
Yeah.
all boils down to that. So if yeah, it's this inner knowing, sort of, and the intuition almost. um yeah. But yeah, those are all the
Yeah.
things that
That was
I learned.
perfect. That was so good. Thank you, Radhika. Um, Before I give it back to Kuya, I just want to say like a little closing statement here. Listen,
Mhm.
I'm talking to the audience now. Look, your life sucks already, okay? It sucks. Try this. Why would you try something different? I don't understand this, okay? Try something different. I would just want to say thank you so much, Radhika, for doing this, Kuya. Thank you for hosting it. But I came into this, thinking previously, I came into this thinking like quantum physics was something for scientists and lab codes, which is totally not what it is. I'm leaving, and I'm hoping that everybody is leaving this thinking that this is the most practical thing that you can learn. It's the most practical thing that I've ever learned. I didn't learn it in school. So because if consciousness shapes reality, then the most important work any of us can do on our minds. That's it. That's the whole thing. And with that, I will pass it back to my big little brother, Mr. Kuya.
Nah, man. I mean, hey, I don't think I want to end it on a different note. I just want to say thanks, Radhika, for joining us, and Lusala, really driving the conversation today. And again, if you made it this far, you're a freaking legend. You're a freaking legend, man. Thank you so much. Because it's an hour and some change. But again, we want to give people what they didn't know that they need. We might break this up into a couple of episodes, quite honestly, because that way, we can get, what I'm saying. But thank you so
We
much,
gotta get
everybody.
Radhika back, man.
Hey,
I'm having
man.
too much fun, too much sauce.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's go.
I'll come back and tell you what's
Hopefully
going
you
on.
enjoyed the conversation, Miss
I
Sharma.
love the conversation. I love talking about this stuff, and you guys are so cool. And thank you for having me. And so I had a lot of fun talking to you guys. And hopefully this will change someone's life, like just
Yes,
like it changed mine when I came
mine
across.
too.
So yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Sweet. All right. We love you guys. And, we'll see you again here pretty soon. Thank you,
Love you
everybody.
all. Thank you for supporting. Hit
Bye
that subscribe
bye.
button, share it.
Oh yeah. All the things in the columns.